Well, hello there. I'm Mama Jane's husband.
So I must be Mama Jane.
Indeed you are. And we're currently off the coast of South Africa on Norwegian Dawn and sailing to Namibia. And we set sail from Cape Town just over a week ago. And before that, we had a few days in Cape Town. And one of those days, we did a wine tour. So if that interests you, then watch on. So the vineyards that we chose to visit, quite away from Cape Town.
Yeah.
The best option we thought was to do a curated tour,
Yeah.
where somebody took us around,
Did the work for you.
did the work for us, and chose the vineyards to visit. And also, the reason why we booked that tour was that it included the transport from the hotel
Yes.
to the vineyards.
And that's what I was trying to say.
Yes.
Rather than you hoping you get there and you don't and the tour's gone, because traffic in early morning, and presume all day, certainly early morning, is really, really busy. So you have no idea how long it's going to take.
And we had the transfers were really lovely. We were in
Yes.
some beautiful cars for
Yeah.
the transfers.
There were 4 of us, weren't there?
Yeah. And the journey's a really lovely journey once you get out of the city. Lots of countryside. It's a really interesting journey.
Beautiful.
Beautiful journey. So that was a nice part of it.
Yes.
And then you arrive at it's the one we used is, I can't pronounce the word. I say Frankensock. I'm sure that's not right. And it's on the tram. The tramways company that run it, and you arrive at their little HQ, and the driver takes you in and
Hands you over.
To the guide, and they sit you down, and we had a coffee and a bun, didn't we?
Yeah.
Which was great. And then fairly soon after that, we were ready to go, and our guide was also our driver, weren't she?
Yeah, and so there were 3 wine vineyards included, and the first one was Lynx.
Lynx,
yeah.
that's right. Yeah.
And we got there in it wasn't a tram, it was
Like an open bus.
Like an open bus, yeah. Now, if you've ever been on a crazy, wild drinks tram, it's not that. It's so not that.
No.
This is so not that.
You're thinking of rum
bus and stuff like
rum
that.
bus in Cartinator. It's not that.
You're going to be disappointed if you're looking for that. So it's extremely lovely and calm, and yes, it involves alcohol, but lots of alcohol, but not in a crazy mad way. So we got to the Lynx vineyard, and we were taken in to have a look inside where it's made and how it all works, and that was so. We didn't spend too long inside because they were actually working, and as we heard, it is very precise timing to harvest grapes and make wine, so we couldn't spend hours in there, but enough time to see how it was all done. And then we went outside, and our driver, she
So it was the guide, wasn't it?
oh sorry, it was the guide, yeah, it was the guide
From Lynx
that did the tasting. And it was in a beautiful place. You can actually stay at the vineyard, which is on my wish list now. And it was just exquisite.
It was absolutely
exquisite.
Beautifully done.
How many wines did we try?
At Lynx, I can't remember at Lynx how many we tried. Through the day, we tried 22 wines.
Not full glasses.
Not full glasses.
Well, you could have the full glass if you wanted.
But we tried 22 wines in total.
And it was really interesting, you know, to think about what you were drinking as opposed to just necking it down. It was nice.
I learned, I thought I understood wine, but I learned an awful lot about wine and the barrels that are used and the oaks that are used and the grapes and things that affect things.
It was really interesting.
It were fascinating, beautifully done. The whole day I learned masses as well as I had a lot of lovely wine.
And I think were there about 12 of us
in the group? Yeah, there was about a group of 12 in this curated
and they were all
tour.
lovely, you know, and it was such a lovely time.
It was, yeah.
And the more wine you drank, the nicer it got.
So Lynx was a really good place to visit. Beautiful scenery, as you will see. You'll see me dropping photos of wonderful scenery in all the time from this tour, because it's just glorious. The wine, the scenery, the food. And then from Lynx we were driven back to the headquarters, and we got on
a proper tram thing, tram thing, and that was a bit busier because there were other groups on it, but they weren't going to the same tour as us, and we went to something called Rickety Bridge, and indeed we went over a Rickety Bridge to get there. Now normally when a tour says involves food and that, we think, oh, not wasting time, because it's usually not that good. You know, you can get nicer food if you're out on your own doing a different tour, but this time we did go for the food, and my goodness, am I glad we did, because what was it like, my dear?
It was awesome.
It was delicious. Beautiful 3-course meal.
It was. And the great thing is we were matched. The wine was matched to each course.
Yeah. So during the first visit, when we first arrived, we had to pick what we wanted for our lunch, which then gave them time to make sure it was all ready and organised, and it was absolutely lovely.
So Rickety Bridge was a bigger set than Lynx, and they had their own restaurant there, and it was a big restaurant, but it was all still very personal. And while they were cooking the food and getting it all ready and getting all the wine prepared, we did some more wine tasting.
We did.
In this little private room.
Yeah.
And while they were telling you how you could buy any of the wines you were tasting, there was absolutely no hard sell. No hard sell at all.
None. And I think because they knew we were on a cruise, they know it's tricky, because to bring wine on board is not good, and not even allowed in some cases, and if you do bring it, it has to be left in the customs area.
Or you get charged corkage.
So it really isn't worth the trouble.
So we had a glorious time at Rickety Bridge. Like I said, the food was fabaroni. Again, the scenery was glorious. It was just a dream place. And I share Mama Jane's desire to go back and stay a few days at one of these wine places.
Yeah. Not just for the wine, although that would be helpful. Actually, wine is lovely wherever we've been, and not expensive, and so you can buy expensive wine, but.
So we were there quite a long time at Rickety Bridge, and then we got taken from Rickety Bridge in another form of transport, weren't it? And this time it was more of a minivan type thing, was it? And we went to the last winery, which was Brie.
Brie,
Brie, weren't it? Yeah. This was the smallest of the wineries, I would say. And we thought we'd finished with the food, but in fact we had pudding here, didn't we?
We had chocolate. Well, you could choose. No, you could choose. You could either have wine paired with different kinds of chocolate, or you could have it complementing Turkish delight,
which I had,
which you did, or you could have biltong, but I'm not into biltong; it's too chewy. And so I had the chocolate, the Turkish delight.
Very nice.
And it was lovely. And the lady there, she was a different lady. She explained the different wines, and it was
and the Brie concept and how they were different and how they were doing things different, and they were sort of specialising a little bit more with dessert wines in a way.
Yeah.
And I'm not fond of dessert wines normally, but this was absolutely gorgeous.
Yeah.
And the view again. Oh gosh, I can't tell you. The countryside is you know, the wine was gorgeous, the countryside was gorgeous.
Yeah.
It was just the views.
What's not to like?
It was fabba rooney.
It was.
We had a great time, really.
Yeah.
So that was the Brie. The wine was great. I have to say, my brother and myself, we had to help the ladies out. They couldn't quite finish all the glasses, but we were readily available to.
You did your bit.
We did our bit for King and Country to make sure that we didn't leave any wine,
Which is probably why he thinks the day was so wonderful.
It was a wonderful.
It could be an
day.
absolute squat, but by the time he drunk all this wine.
And then we got taken back to HQ for Frankenstock tramways, and our driver was waiting for us.
Yeah.
And we were then chauffeured back, and the chauffeur was a lovely man again. We've met some great people on this cruise.
Yeah.
And he took us a different way back.
Yes.
And he took us via the place where Nelson Mandela was actually released from, I think. I couldn't quite look at, but there's a huge statue to him there, and the place it was hugely significant to him, obviously, because he wanted us to see it.
Yeah.
And it was a lovely moment because it was right off the beaten track.
Yes. Yeah.
And we were very, very grateful for him showing us it. And then so we saw a different countryside on the way back. Even the drive into Cape Town, as we were heading towards Table Mountain, we got some surprisingly good photos from the back of the car, through the front windscreen. Quite amazing, really.
I think what you need to remember, if you've never been to South Africa, Table Mountain is right in. It's in
your face.
It's in your face. You can't not see it. You can't think, I wonder where Table Mountain is.
Greatest backdrop in the world, I think.
It's in the middle of the town, in a way. Yeah.
So, all in all, highly recommended. Again, you can do it cheaper than doing the curated tour with transport. You could probably do it cheaper by using a Uber, but you'd have to use the transport back as well. The Uber back. You could probably do the tours yourself, just using the tram. But I don't think you get the curation and all the lovely information and the matching of the wines that we got. So it's amazing value for money.
Yeah, and it's worth budgeting for it. You know, I know you can't do everything, and we have to think what we're going to do. This was for us something we are so pleased we did.
Yeah, and like I said, we want to go back and stay at one of the wineries.
Yeah, it just looked gorgeous. Yeah.
Okay, so for now, it's a goodbye from
me,
and it's a goodbye from
him.